Well, 4 days to the Iowa caucuses and only 4 hours until the final debate before the first vote of election 2016. First at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 GOP candidates will make their case to be the presidential nominee. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 more will face off. Who will come out on top tonight? Ted Cruz could be the biggest target with the highest poll numbers on the stage and momentum building in the early states. He's feeling confident, but still has this call for Iowa voters.
This is all about turnout. Look, what I am asking folks to do is show up and caucus for us on Monday and to bring others. Bring your mom, bring your son, bring your next-door neighbor. It's going to be won on the ground here in Iowa, neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend, Iowan to Iowan. And our strength is a grassroots army. Now, regardless of what happens here in Iowa, I believe we can win. I hope we win. But regardless, we're right now very strong in New Hampshire. We're very strong in South Carolina. And we are incredibly strong across the Super Tuesday states, the so-called SEC primary.
And Marco Rubio also expressing confidence.
I've been telling people all week, if they nominate me, I'm going to beat Hillary Clinton. We'll win this election. I'll unite the Republican Party, and I will go out and talk to people that haven't voted for us before. We'll create new conservatives. And there's also a reason why the Democrats attack me more than any other Republican, because they know if I'm our nominee, the Republicans win.
And joining us now live from Iowa as we pregame the debates tonight, Greg Gutfeld. Greg, you heard a couple of thoughts there. You heard Cruz and Rubio. Which one seems to be making the better case?
Well, I think they're both strong candidates. In fact, we have to remind ourselves that this is an extremely strong group of people. We have a handful of governors. We've got charismatic outsiders. We have a pair of fiery senators. When you look at this selection and you think about the Democrats, it's like comparing a Humvee to a pogo stick. I mean, the diversity and the qualifications that are up on that stage are unparalleled and haven't been like that in ages. And I think the viewer has their work cut out for them. They've got a lot of great voices up there. They've got a decision to make. The real work is on the shoulders of the viewer.
Yeah. KG, 4 hours left. 4 hours. Pretty exciting, yeah.
Yes, indeed. I think it's going to be fantastic, and I love the people that we have, moderating these debates are top-notch. They'll do a fine job for the channel here and for the viewers that are watching, because there's some very important decisions that need to be made, and I think all eyes and ears are going to be on Fox News Channel to feast your eyes and ears on the issues and get some information to choose your candidate. So I'm excited about it. And in terms of Ted Cruz, obviously, I think he's going to be taking a lot of hits tonight. There's going to be all eyes on him, but I think he's going to be ready. Looks like he's pretty fired up. Marco Rubio, love that he keeps bringing up the fact that he can win and beat, Hillary Clinton. I think he's right about that, and that's a strong point that he should keep hitting home tonight.
What do you think, Juan? What should these guys go after? Who should they be going after? I mean, clearly evangelicals will be a big thing, but what else should they make their case?
Well, I think that you got to think about exactly where the weakness is. So for someone like Cruz, you say, well, can you make a deal? Can you get along with people? Is it the fact that you have gone back and forth on ethanol, to play to the Iowa voters? And then, of course, you go deeper, and this is where I'm looking for action from people like Rand Paul. Greg mentioned 2 senators. I think there are 3 senators, and I think the third one, Rand Paul.
I don't count him.
Well, I think we have to be polite. And I think Rand Paul, now back on the main stage, remember he wasn't there last time, I think he's going to bring a lot of energy.
Rand Paul, also Kasich is ringing a lot of bells lately.
Yeah.
A lot of lights are flashing with the Kasich campaign.
Right, so I think we should be prepared for some surprises. I think that the questions are going to be really tough because up to now, it's like in a marathon. They say that the first 20 miles is easy compared to the last 6. So tonight really is the last 6. We found out last night when we were on the show that about 35 to 40% of people in Iowa who are planning to vote will change their minds between tonight and Monday. So you have to, I guess, sprint to the finish if I'm completing my sports metaphor.
Yeah, a couple of good sports analogies. Jesse, what about Chris? No one's really talked about Chris Christie. Why is Chris Christie not resonating?
I think he's going to be very good tonight.
He's going to be good tonight, definitely.
I always thought Chris Christie would resonate because he's got that big personality. He goes and shakes hands with these guys at the diners. He's not translating. He's doing a lot better in New Hampshire. Tonight, I think Ted Cruz, all the pressure is on Ted Cruz. He's actually kind of the front runner who's on stage tonight. Let's see how he wears that hat. There's going to be a lot of action coming his way. Rubio is going to go go after him. He needs to look presidential, but he also has to maintain that he's the outsider because that's worked for him so far. He has a likability issue. We all know that. So he has to smile more, and he's kind of got a reputation as a little bit of a nasty guy, but he's going to hit the faith hard. He's going to hit constitutional conservative principles hard, and needs some better answers on amnesty and a better answer on surveillance.
Let me stay on. I don't mean to cut you off, Jesse. I want to get to this soundbite right here on faith. How far will the candidates go to court the evangelical vote tonight? Here's a preview of what we could expect.
Our nation should hope that our next president is someone who every day and every night and at every moment drops to their knees and asks the Lord for guidance and asks the Holy Spirit for inspiration and asks them for wisdom.
So for me, when people ask, is faith real, I can tell you in my family, I would have been raised by a single mom without my father in the household if it were not for the redemptive love of Jesus Christ. I gave my life to Jesus as well, and it turned my life around.
I, for one, believe that people of faith should act on their faith, and they should be informed by their faith.
So, Dana, I think last time around was it 53 or 57% of the caucus goers in Iowa were evangelicals?
Right. And one of the polls this week said that it could be lower than that. One poll actually said about 36%. So we'll see. I don't know if we know. I do think, having worked for somebody that definitely started his day as a president every day with a prayer, and I remember in the, that funny picture of me with Dikembe Mutombo, where he's like towering over me. Behind me, there's a photograph on the wall, and it's of President Bush, and he has his head bowed. And I'm always asked, what's he doing there? I'm like, he's praying. There was a prayer before every cabinet meeting because I think Americans still believe that a leader who relies on faith and the humility that it brings and the grace that it provides is important.
And is one they can trust.
Yeah. I was just out in Iowa, and we talked to some evangelicals, and I said, did you guys vote for Romney in the general? No one even voted for Romney for theological reasons. I said, who did you vote for? Did you write me in? And they said, no, I wrote in Rick Santorum. Yeah. So these people can smell phonies. They know who's an authentic conservative, and a lot of them like Ted Cruz because they recognize that Ted Cruz has a real relationship with Jesus Christ, and you can't fake that.
Greg, we need to note also that every single piece of U.S. currency, whether it's a coin or a bill, at some space it says, "In God we trust."
Yeah, I think Jesse brings up a good point. Religion is something that can be so easily faked. And naturally, for some reason, candidates become really, really, really religious at election time. That's quite a coincidence for my taste. We train our candidates to overemphasize religion and punish those who don't, which I think is unfair. It leads to a key distinction of what a great spiritual leader is. It is, I respect the person who can talk about their God and talk about their religion, but not talk about how religious they are, because that's political pandering at its worst, and it's often a sign of an imposter, as Jesse notes.
And I'd like to point out that I go to church every single day, and I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Someone's running.
We got
you light a candle for me.
You
light a candle for me.
Okay? Yeah. All right.
It's important.
In God's name we trust.
These people want to hear it. They want your authenticity.
And you're going to hear that tonight. It's going to be important because let me tell you, Iowa's got big years tonight. They're going to be paying attention, listening. A lot of people are going to be making some very important, last-minute decisions. Maybe they've narrowed it down to 2 choices, and they want someone that they really feel is going to speak to them and kind of put them over the edge tonight in terms of making that choice.
I'm sorry if I could add one thing, which is we haven't mentioned Dr. Ben Carson.
I was about to.
Oh. Well, I'm glad that I could
I think
help.
Dr. Carson is the main competition. I'm sorry, am I cutting you off?
No, I'm feeling bad because I think that you were next. We had the same thought.
Okay, well, I was going to say that I think Ben Carson is really competing for that evangelical vote very strongly. And you remember that there's a big overlap between evangelicals and homeschoolers in Iowa. And one of the experiences I've had is going to visit and seeing that in the homeschool community, they're using Ben Carson's books. So they know Ben Carson, and Ben Carson has
He's doing great in Iowa.
Well, I don't know if he's still doing great because the polls don't show that, Kimberly.
Well, that's not true.
But I think he has a ground.
Homeschoolers, he's doing quite well.
Yeah, but the thing is, do they stay with Ben Carson? Because I think, in picking up on what Jesse was talking about, I disagree with you about you know, I think there was, as you say, theological differences with the Mormon candidate, but I don't think that they would think that he was any kind of phony. I don't think that at all.
Well, he was Mormon, and that it means a lot to evangelicals. But, you know, Carson is in the game, because in a caucus, you bring your top 3 guys there. So if he's in that mix, he could surprise a lot of people. But I do want to see everybody, you know, not just talk about faith the whole time. Talk about Obama, talk about Hillary, talk about Sanders. You know, all these unpopular policies under the president, Obamacare, these trades we're making with the Iranians in Bergdahl, the wages going down. Tie those unpopular policies to the neck of Hillary Clinton and just watch her sink. I think the crowd would enjoy that.
Well, I think the bigger issue for them is values, you see. I think it's about values and feeling as if sometimes they're estranged from the establishment, and I got to tell you guys, it's the establishment on both sides.
Greg, final thought, the really wacky part of this is if there are 100, as Dana points out, maybe there's a bigger number of people that show up to the caucus this year, which would bring the evangelical rate down a little bit. If there are 150 or 170,000 only who show up, the winner could win with 40 or 50,000 votes. 40 or 50,000 votes will dictate the beginning of an election cycle. Amazing. Amazing.
I don't like even thinking about it because it seems so surreal that that's all it takes. It's why I had like 4 shots of Fireball with Sean Hannity last night, just to calm my nerves. And then I charged 3 desserts to his room.
All right, we're going to leave it there, but I'm going to do this. Can I get the air quotes on here with last night?
Oh, my God.
All right, we're going to leave it right there.
It was an hour ago.
All right.
Wait, by the way, don't forget Carl Cameron said that Ben Carson, his team, said they had 40,000 committed caucus goers that were ready to vote for him.
If that's the case, he's going to be in the top 3. And they say
and Rand Paul could have a strong organization, too.
All right.